All right, guys, here we go. Back out on the dirt bike, 2023 AMA West Hare Scrambles. Jacksonville, Oregon. And I jumped the start. I don't know what I was thinking there. Not a great start for me. Real close to the last spot. All right, it's a long race. I got all day. Yeah, I think I'm ahead of maybe 2 people there. So it rained on us pretty good on the starting line while we were waiting to get underway. So the course is moist, but the dirt looks really good. A little slicker than I expected it to be, though, if I'm being honest. Jason Hayes up in front of me right here. We're both trying to figure out where we fit in this class, so kind of winging it here. Jason makes a bobble there, ends up going down. He doesn't get hurt, ends up getting up and catching me towards the end of the second lap and getting by me. So I was kind of glad to see because I wasn't sure if he got hurt there or not. Looked like a bad fall from the angle I had. I'll just single filing it here down the single track. Like I said, we're all testing the traction, seeing what's available. What's this guy on the KX up here? Right there, man, I thought he was going down. That actually scared me a little bit, made me check up. It's like, man, there's not as much traction here as I thought there would be. This is my backyard. I ride here all the time. So I thought it was going to have this all figured out. But I guess I don't necessarily ride race pace all the time, so. Don't get me wrong, conditions were great, no dust. The course was really well designed. MRA volunteers did a great job putting it together. We had a great course to ride. So it's actively sprinkling a little bit, but it does end up playing kind of havoc on the goggle situation. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Bike's running good. I'm feeling really good early on. I ride these trails. I'd say about 30 to 40% of this I actively ride when I'm up for a dirt bike ride up here. It's just kind of my normal spot to run, create some loops on, and kind of thought I'd have a bit of an advantage here if anything to help me out, but honestly the home field advantage didn't help me out a whole lot today. I still got my butt kicked. Still had fun. Like I said, we're trying to figure out where we fall in the A class, and we're finding that we got to get a little faster. That being said, I'm still having a lot of fun on my dirt bike. You have to forgive me a little bit of. This is my first video edit on some new editing software, so I'm still kind of figuring it out. So there's a bit of a process learning curve to figuring out new software. So we'll get it figured out. Hopefully the videos will be seamless, just like the old ones. So this is the first lap, of course, so not sure exactly where the trail's going to venture, so you can't push too hard, too early, at least I can't, where you risk the chance of going past the next turn. So I'm trying to take it easy here and not get too aggressive. First lap, the course isn't too bad as far as braking bumps. I mean, they're definitely there. We've had another class, you know, a morning class that ran this course, so it's a little choppy, but not too bad. But it breaks down quick. By the second lap, it's definitely getting some braking bumps in it. Braking bumps, accelerating bumps, they're all there by the second lap. I think there were over 200 riders in the afternoon race, and yeah, there are a lot of wheels on the ground, that's for sure. Oh, that was a good line right there. I think that guy got three guys in one turn. Oh, and just a quick spoiler alert, if you don't want to watch this whole thing. I didn't win. I didn't even come close to winning. I was lucky to finish. I think I was out on the course for well over 3 hours. Under 3.5, but over 3. Let's just say that. And that was a long time to be on a dirt bike. I was pretty tired. As a matter of fact, a day later, I'm still pretty tired. Sore in places I didn't know I could be sore. So I was just glad to finish this one. A lot of work. Kudos to the winners of all the classes, man. And any of you guys who are running top 3, top 5. Those guys are fast. I just consider this a baby step, trying to figure it out. Maybe I'll never be that fast, but that's okay. I'm having fun racing my dirt bike. It's fun racing with the fast guys anyhow. Dude, that was a good save. I thought that guy was going down. That's another one that kind of scared me. We were going at a decent little clip right there. If you go down, you're going to feel that one. gives me the sign to take that line, and I make the move past him real quick. A little bit of water droplets building up on the camera lens there. Got the same thing going on with the goggles, but it's a bit worse. I think I'm struggling a little bit with my helmet too. I feel like it's pushing my goggles down, and in this race it definitely did it. Kind of pushed my goggles down where I was actually getting, they were fogging up on the inside because I was starting to breathe into them a little bit. That kind of created a mess with the goggles for me. Really used to racing in the hot, dry summer, so get into this moisture stuff. I don't know, I haven't quite got the goggle thing all figured out yet. My pit crew, my daughter and my son, they had spare goggles for me. And with roll-offs on them, I just chose not to run them. I didn't feel like I was going to need it. Probably should have ran it. Again, I appreciate that. Guy give me the hand signal to go left and let me by. Well, like I said, the bumps were deep out here. I don't know that that was the fastest line, but I took that line I think every lap. You'll see me swiping with the goggles quite a bit. Just trying to keep them clear. Yeah, if you'd recognize this, this is what I call single track forest. My stomping ground, so to speak. It's funny to see all the lines that people are taking and just kind of straightening out some of the corners. Yeah, there was no home field advantage here for me, I'll tell you that. Yeah, so we take a right down, right there. Yeah, I've never been on this section of trail, but I feel like I know the dirt pretty well down here. But I kill it. I do that several times too. I don't have too much rear brake. Like I said, you know, the Gopro will smooth everything out, but I promise you it was rough and bumpy out there. So it's real easy for you to lose foot position on the pegs a little bit and just get on the brakes a little harder than you want to, because it was kind of hard to hold on. I don't know, for me it was anyhow. I mean, there were guys running way faster lap times than me, which I'm super impressed by. Because you know, if they can do it, then there's some way I should be able to do that as well. guy with a nice clean line to get around me. He's not my class, I don't believe, but definitely moving. This is a section of road that I've ridden on a bunch of times too, but it's definitely different at race pace. You know, when you're up here practicing running loops even, you're still only riding, I don't know, 75%. You're not pushing too hard because there's always that possibility you're going to meet somebody on the trail going the other direction. So always being a little reserved when you're practicing up here. Especially for those of us who typically can only ride on the weekend. Make a mistake up here. Decided to park it in the trees. Basically let everybody go by that I passed. But it's all good. Didn't get hurt, and that's all that matters. Bike's fine. Let's get back on trail. Get the heart rate calmed down a little bit here. Try to get back up to speed. A little bit of sunshine peeking through the canopy there. We had a bunch of that. The weather was all over the place the whole race. You'd get some rain, you'd get some wind. The sun had come out for a little bit. It was crazy. Crazy Oregon weather. KX is running a really good pace. Kind of wanted to stick with him for a little bit if I could, just help pull me through some of these guys. But he was much better at passing. Crossing the road here onto, well, still continuing on a section of Trail 7. It's funny, I don't really run Trail 7 this way very much, but I definitely have an advantage of having a good idea of where the turns are. This guy does a good job not blowing through that one. Sharp 180. My effort to stay on this guy's rear wheel, I just about drop it. That's always fun. All that hard work I did to catch up to him. kind of let him go. Goggles are really starting to be a problem. You definitely notice me lifting that left hand a bunch and swiping at him. At this point, I pretty much decided that I'm going to have to dump them. I'm just trying to figure out where to do it because I don't want to pull over, and I also don't want to throw them off to the side because goggles aren't cheap. This section of trail was pretty fun, but it's steeper than it looks, and if you lost your momentum a little bit, it was hard to get it back. Especially when you're tired on, like, I don't know, lap 3. I kind of struggled with it a little bit. Not on this first lap, but definitely on a few laps later I did. I think I got the camera angle down today. It seems to be pretty good, especially when I'm standing. Again, running the chest mount, running the GoPro Hero 11 Mini, which did a great job. And yeah, my buddy Randy Cox had borrowed my Hero 9, which is the camera I normally run. And it's got a little better battery life, but I knew I was probably only going to do the first lap of this one, as far as video-wise anyhow. So yeah, running the Mini, and yeah, I think it worked out alright. This is a pretty steep downhill. Back out onto the road. And not for very long, you're going to drop right back in. Down some nice single track that I've never ridden before. I have to remember this one. I can hear somebody behind me, but I try to pull over as soon as I can. I guess I did it right there. Sometimes on that single track you get locked into the rut and it's really hard to make room for somebody behind you. But I definitely try to get out of people's way when I know they're there. Definitely don't want to hold anybody up that's going faster than me. I mean, I wish I could say I was the fastest guy on the course, but I simply am not. I'm definitely having fun. Actually, at this point, about 23 minutes into the race, I was wondering why I was feeling tired. Not real bad, but I could definitely tell that fatigue was coming in. And I think it was because it was just kind of relentless. There was no place to really rest. Struggling with vision. Probably getting passed more than I would like by the B-class riders, even. But that's just how it goes sometimes. More often than not, actually. That section turns into a mess. That little mud hole there, it collects a bunch of people later on. Ruts get pretty deep there. And the lines kept getting wider and wider. most likely I'll only make one video of this one, just the first lap. It's probably the most interesting anyways. It was my fastest lap. I think I ran in the 48-minute range. Then got significantly slower every lap as I got tired and the course got chewed up every lap. Did have a lot of sketchy moments in this one. I'm fortunate that I was able to get out without hitting the ground. Same with that section. They end up kind of rerouting us through there. On lap 2, I think there's at least one bike stuck in there. Make a little roundabout. Kind of rust a little bit in these fast straight sections on the roads, but there wasn't that much of it, and if you rust it too much, you really lose some time there. It's a good way to kind of open the bike up and get some speed going. This is a section I've never ridden before either. It was pretty fun, but it was soft and it could bog you down pretty much. Thank you, sir. I do appreciate people cheering. It does give you a little bit of motivation, especially later on in the race when you're really tired. Anybody clapping for you kind of reminds you why you're there to keep chooching. So like I said, a little over 3 hours on the course, and it's kind of a mind game with yourself. Part of the time you're in pain and suffering and telling yourself that you could go back to the truck and nobody would really care, but I would, right? It's like I did the only race I ever haven't finished was Doyle, and that was this year, and it was another 2.5+ hour race, and I really pulled off though. I was worried about hurting myself. Yeah, it's definitely a battle for me to just keep pushing late in the race when it would be so much easier to just stop, but that's not what we're here for. And there you can see I finally dumped the goggles. Couldn't deal with it anymore. Now they're gonna annoy me dangling from my arm for about 3 laps. The plan was to pit at the end of lap 2, and so when I pulled my goggles off, I thought, well, if I see any of my pit crew along the course, I'll just tug my goggles to them. And when you're racing, it's hard to really pay attention to for me anyhow, it's hard for me to pay attention to who's out there on the course, clapping and taking pictures or whatnot. So I didn't see him, so I just kept running. And on lap 2, when I was at the end of lap 2, when I was supposed to pit, I missed the pit and just kept going. Luckily, fuel wasn't really an issue, so finally on lap 3 I was able to pull into the pit, grab a gallon of fuel or so, and clean my goggles up, put them back on, and ride lap 4 with some fairly clean-ish goggles. I definitely felt more comfortable with goggles on. By then it really wasn't raining much anymore, and yeah, it wasn't bad. But yeah, we're roughly 30 minutes into lap 1. I'm still feeling okay for the most part. So yeah, as far as bike setup goes, the first lap the bike ran really well. Everything felt good. Of course, I was pretty fresh, so it's hard to say, but I definitely feel like as those braking bumps got deeper, accelerating bumps got bigger, and as the track got rougher, I think the fork should have been a little stiffer. I think, especially on the downhills, it was riding too low in the stroke, and like I said, as it got deep, I feel like I was definitely getting hammered a little bit on the front end. I watched some videos that my kids had taken of me, and that definitely seems to be the case, but I'll know that better next time. It definitely wasn't a factor of the suspension, other than I didn't anticipate it getting as rough as it did. A lot of times when it gets rough, you kind of think you should soften it up some, but all that does is just let everything sit too deep in the stroke, and then it's harsh. But that was a small detail, really, that, you know, I'm not a pro, but I think maybe that would have helped a little bit if I would have stiffened the fork up a tiny bit. Those goggles dangling over there are driving me nuts. But they're going to be there for a while, so I just need to get used to it. This section was pretty fun in here too. The whole course was fun, really. I think I said it was 17 miles total. And I did 4 laps total. So that's a couple miles. Good Sunday ride. Hey, if you're still watching this video, I really appreciate it. So thank you for those who are still watching this video. Let me know in the comments if you're still watching after 34 minutes. Or don't. I don't care either way. But I do like people watching. A lot of people will watch the first, 5 minutes or so. And I appreciate that too. I'm not really that entertaining of a person. I mean, I just kind of sit here and ramble until I can't think of anything else to say. And, not much of a commentator. Little bottleneck here. Let me catch up to everybody again. That turn, it was a little bit, I don't know, it wasn't, it's hard to explain. It wasn't a smooth flowing turn. I had not really trouble with it, but you had to pay attention to what you were doing going through there, especially as the ruts got a little deeper. tough time behind this guy in the lap one. Yeah, it's kind of fun racing him. He had a little better pace than I did here, as I'm getting wore in some. The other problem, of course, you run into when you pull your goggles off is as you close in on people, now you have to worry about having to throw rocks at you. So there's always that. In these races like this here, I guess I'd say I probably only ride 70 or 80% of like a sprint speed for the most part, because I personally could never maintain, you know, much more than that. But it's funny that I wish my 70% speed was as fast as some of the other guys' 70% speed, because man, those guys are moving. Section of Trail 1 we're dropping into here. Come up, make a hard 180-degree left-hand turn here. A lot of granite in these sections. Granite holds the moisture really well though. And the only time you have traction in the granite is when it's wet, in my opinion. Catching up to this guy. I'm not sure what class he was in, but I think he's on a 125 or maybe a 150. Yeah, it was definitely easy to hit the ground out here if you weren't paying attention. Part of Diabolical Trail, I think. Well, it's in that general area, yeah. I know when you come out back onto the road, across the road, that's Diabolical. Oh man, that was sketchy. I almost went down right there. And I tried to slow up, and I know that those bridges when they get wet are pretty sketchy, so I tried to be careful, it just didn't help. Alright, this is Diabolical here for sure. I think for sure. man, the braking bumps got so big in here. You can see them forming now, but man, they got pretty deep. Now this is some true single track right there. You had to be real careful going too fast through there. You'd end up off course real easy. These goggles are just dancing. They're driving me nuts. This section of trail is considered dead man, if I remember correctly. It's always kind of wet in here, and there's a lot of rock in the soil. So it's not difficult per se, but man, I'd hate to go down in here. I think it would hurt. It's really hard to tell, but there's a lot of rock in here. A little bit of sunshine right there, and it's gone. Of course, I don't have goggles on, so I have to be really careful about how close I get to people. I can turn here on a switchback trail. I don't ride this trail typically very often because there always seems to be a lot of traffic on it. So you have to ride it pretty cautiously. It's a fun trail though. I usually run it the opposite direction though. There's some more sunshine, blue skies. It doesn't last for very long. Boundary Trail or Trail 1. That's another trail that's pretty fun, but I don't run it. It would be fun to run fast. Yeah, just too many people on it. This just, I think this just drops back into the Lily Prairie Trail system. I don't know if this trail has an official name or not. Good stuff though. But anyhow, I think that's about all I got for this one. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, I'm out.